All right, welcome back to another episode of the Autism in Action podcast. Today we have Mr. Benjamin Meyer of
Mhm.
Benjamin Meyer LCSW online services on his website. Um, Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here
Thank you
today.
for having me. I really appreciate it. Mhm.
So, what is it that you do? And we'll just start with that.
So I work a lot with young adults who identify as being on the spectrum and with nonverbal learning disorder as well, regarding the adaptation to life after college and into the adult social world and the adult work world. So a lot of what I do is helping young adults with dating, figuring out different strategies, how to approach that, how to go about it, how to meet people, etc. So I really provide that one-on-one space, and I also have been running a small group for young adults on the spectrum as well to come and meet and support each other in that process as well and brainstorming ideas.
This
Mhm.
is a really important component for, transitioning into adulthood. And I think that it does get overlooked a lot of times. I don't think dating is a big topic,
Mhm.
here in the autism world, and it should be because it definitely is
Absolutely.
part of, seeking connections with others
Mhm.
and expanding on social skills and all the good stuff that
Mhm.
we strive towards every day. So
Yes.
that is just
Mhm.
amazing. You offer a group location to facilitate all of that. That's
Yes, yes,
amazing.
it is. It is.
Mhm.
It's great. I have found that young adults can really kind of bounce ideas off of each other, as I said, and they can brainstorm different ways of meeting people as well. And a big part of what I've been advocating is that there are all sorts of ways to date. That the traditional way that we sometimes think, which is online or going to bars or clubs and stuff, that doesn't work for everybody. That there are other ways that build on our strengths, whether it's our interests, and having an opportunity to share that with somebody, whether it's a meetup group that builds on that interest or et cetera. So there's lots of different ways to date. And I just wanted to put that out there as being part of what I'm kind of encouraging people to think about. Yeah.
That's
hmm
so important. What other aspects of dating should we talk about?
Well, I think, it's first of all, I mean, I do think that finding environments sometimes that are, as I said, less, sort of high pressure, where it's not like you have to make an immediate first good impression. So sometimes when somebody's setting up an online date or going to a bar, I mean, there's a lot of pressure to kind of say the right thing or feel like you have to prove yourself. Sometimes there are social circles, like as I said, meetup groups where I've had clients who are interested in astronomy. I've had clients who are interested in other things, to come in and be able to kind of meet other people who share their interests and share their curiosity about a certain subject, and then to sort of slowly build a connection with that person based on that interest, and learn and sort of identify, whether it's in a group context or with a therapist or with even sometimes a friend, how do you identify and gauge somebody's interest in you? How do you gauge when it's appropriate or when it's the right time to say, hey, would you like to get coffee sometime? How do you gauge if they're giving you more of a friend vibe, or if there's something, that more that they would like to explore? And a lot of that is looking at body language, looking at how close somebody's standing to you after you get to know them. Do they touch you on the shoulder at all? Do they smile a lot at you? Do they flip their hair? Different things like this. And sometimes we can all miss those signs if we're not really focused on talking about them with another person. So I think sometimes doing it in a less pressure, less, fast paced environment, and a more supportive kind of opportunity to kind of get to know somebody over time in a gradual way, can really help build on their strengths that they already have to offer, to offer those interests to somebody else, and also build on those interests with somebody else, and eventually get to the point of asking somebody out on a date at some point. So that's what I have kind of approached it as, to kind of point to those options. And I do think, things like safety are really important as well, just to put that out as well, especially for women. I think you're not going so far if you're going to likely to get lost, trying to meet close to where you live, and having a phone number on it as well. That can be helpful as well. So I try to build on those strengths that we already have in terms of meeting people. That's really important. Yeah.
I agree. It is so important. And watching
Mm-hmm.
the body language and
Mm-hmm.
knowing,
Mm-hmm.
when it's
Mm-hmm.
appropriate and when it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
That's really important. And
It is.
feeling comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
having a
Mm-hmm.
safe place to do that and show up as yourself. I know
Mm-hmm.
as a
Mm-hmm.
counselor myself, I work a lot with older autistic adults, young
Mm-hmm.
adults, and older adolescents, and
Mm-hmm.
they're exploring that arena as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Someone to call a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and
Right.
it is an important topic to talk
Abs-
about. And
absolutely.
I think a lot
Absolutely.
of times, there's been mention, that they feel like they have to hide parts of themselves, you know,
Right.
when they
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
having the courage to show up
Mm-hmm.
as who they are. I think that's
Absolutely.
important.
I totally agree with that, and that's part of why it's good way to have something that you're interested in to be authentic in that, and to share that with somebody else is great. And in terms of um, kind of being authentic with oneself, I think sometimes we forget that we all have lots of strengths and things to offer, including those of us who are either on the learn differently or on the spectrum as well. So sometimes it can feel like, well, this is something that we should have to hide or not share. But there are strengths that come with it as well, and there are things that we sometimes overlook. Whether it's having some of my clients have great memories, for example, and that's really important for sometimes remembering what somebody said is really important in a dating kind of process, or sometimes having a specific interest or understanding of that about a topic that that person shares with you is a really important quality. So there are many strengths we have as well, and I think it's important to tap into that instead of only feeling even though I know that there are differences, even though only focusing on those, we can focus on our strengths as well. And I think that's something that I try to do as well with young people. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is just wonderful, wonderful. Do you
Great.
have any kind of particular structure that you use with the groups? Um,
Yeah. Hmm.
okay, let's talk about
Well,
that a little bit.
yeah, I think, one of the things that I do is like when I start with a group, I mean, obviously there's always confidentiality. Um, I have an understanding that everyone might be at a different place, in this dating process, and for us all to respect where we are and to use that as an opportunity to learn from each other as well. And usually the way I build it is we spend the first time brainstorming for part of the group's brainstorming where we can meet people that we haven't thought about before and where we feel most comfortable meeting other people. So that could be, some people have like to go to museums and they like to, in New York, like to go to museums and like meet people there and interests that they have. Some other people have been part of meetup groups before. Some other people like to go to the movies and they like to have movie fan clubs and stuff like that. So we start brainstorming that, and then we kind of follow through on just identifying different people we might be interested in, in those groups, and how do you approach someone to express that interest or get to know them more right at the beginning, and then we talk about that and we support each other in that process. So the first couple sessions are just like the kind of ground rules, and then where do we meet people, and then the third or fourth session is more how would we actually approach somebody in this process and how that would look like, and how do we know in their verbal and nonverbal body language, which can be really tricky to read, if they're interested in us or not. So that could be things like how long they talk to us, do they, as I said, standing, how close they stand to us, what they do with their body language and their hair and stuff like that, and trying to sort of like kind of pick up on what those signs might mean, and not assuming but just sort of trying to read them as we go along, and thinking about when the right time is to say, hey, would you like to get a cup of coffee sometime, or would you like to go to this movie or something like that. And so we kind of build on it that way, building on the basics of just meeting other people, over time, over a couple sessions. Yeah, yeah,
Awesome. Now, if
yeah.
anybody wants to get in touch with you, what is the
Hmm.
best way for them to reach out?
You can either send an email at Benjamin Meyer, LCSW at gmail.com, or you can give me a call as well. It's my phone number's on my website, so you can go ahead and give me a call as well. And yeah, I'm happy to talk to people just about what I do and let them know a little bit about what I'm offering and things like that as well. Hmm.
And I did want to mention quickly, you are located in Teaneck, New Jersey.
Yes, yes.
That's on the
Uh-huh.
outskirts